Peace Queen. It's Melissa Crawford of thequeencode.com, and today's message is part 2 in our brand new series entitled Revelations, Unveiling the Great Mystery of the Divine Feminine. So what do I mean by the Divine Feminine? In last week's video, I shared with you that this series is all about restoring womanhood back to its rightful place, getting to the point where we are able to reclaim what it means to be a woman, reclaim what it means to be in your feminine power. And what I want to do is I want to take you back in time, not in history, but in our herstory, as I call it, to a place where to be woman was to be sacred, where we held ourselves in high regard, and we were also held in high regard. And so I'll start out with telling you what I believe. What I believe is that there's one creator, one source, and that we're made in the image of the creator. And being made in the image of the creator, man and woman, there is a masculine and feminine aspect within each of us. Now, as men, with men, they embody, traditionally, typically, they embody more of the masculine energy. But there still is a masculine and a feminine within every man. With women, with us, we should embody more of the feminine energy. Okay? More of the feminine aspect. And again, traditionally, typically, I know there's some exceptions today, but even so, within a woman, there's the masculine and the feminine aspect as well. So within each of us, man or woman, we both have the masculine and feminine aspects, right? Because you need both for proper manifestation. Because the masculine is all about the doing, the get it done, the firepower energy. The feminine is all about peace, flow, abundance, expandedness, heart, purpose, passion, all of those. We need to connect both of them in order to ignite the powers of manifestation. So if we're made in the image of the creator, then the creator must also have a divine feminine and a divine masculine aspect. And what I noticed in really going back and studying this in the past 2,500 years, and even in the society today, we're very familiar with the masculine aspect of the creator. But the feminine has really been taken out of the equation. It's been suppressed. It's been hidden for far too long. And so when you think about, say, with my hand, I have one hand, right? It's one thing. It's one whole thing. But when it comes to the divine feminine aspect of the creator, it's like for the past 2,500 years we've been doing this. We see this part, but we don't see this part. And in order to access our full potential, we have to see the whole thing again. So, going back in history, I noticed that it really began to happen about 2,500 years ago, where there came a turn in events, where all of a sudden, again, what was once sacred became defiled. Women began to lose a lot of power. And it was at the hands of different civilizations that were more masculine in nature. And they would go around the globe and see these different civilizations that were headed by women. And they were prosperous, and they were profitable, and they were peaceful. And these other civilizations that were headed mainly, by men and more than masculine, they were very threatened by that. They did not like that. Now, here's what I want to say before I move on. The Queen Code message is not about the battle of the sexes. We don't do the men against women. This message is definitely for queens, but it can also be for kings. I love my kings, okay? So it's not about pointing fingers and saying, oh, well, they did this to us. It's not about that. Because as queens, we're supposed to always get the lesson in the situation, kings too, but in this situation, just get the lesson and move on. It's not about finger pointing. It's not about exacting revenge. Let's be transcendent. It's more about restoration. So I'm trying to help you understand your story or your herstory so we can bring about this age of restoration that's literally happening right now. So about 2,500 years ago, we begin to lose our power. And a lot of temples that we had for healing were destroyed. And a lot of, there used to be some, statues that really honored women's bodies, not in a very sexual way, but our bodies were seen as beautiful, life-giving, entities, forces. I mean, there were sculptures of women with breasts and, pregnant women sculptures. And, our body was really seen as a very powerful thing because it was a portal for new life. And so those types of statues were either destroyed or buried or hidden or said to be evil. And so about 2,500 years ago, it really started the decline of the divine feminine. And, in our society, it started the decline of women. We lost a lot of our rights. And slowly but surely, going up to today, we've forgotten what it truly means to be feminine. And because we've been out of our power for so long, you take a look around at society and you can see that there's a lack of feminine power. There's a lack of our wisdom. The world is hurting from a lack of our intuition. And in order for everything to be upgraded right now, the queen needs to return to her throne. Okay? And so the divine feminine, you have to know, as above, so below, as within, so without. The same thing that's happening right now on a spiritual, cosmic level. It's like for so long we've been in the dark only seeing this. And now there's so much light on the planet that the veil is being lifted and we're starting to see the full picture. And it may scare you, especially if you've only known God in the masculine. Because it's like, wait a minute, what is it? Is there like multiple gods? No, one creator, one source. But there's another aspect that we haven't been seeing. And how you perceive God will actually determine where you see beauty. And for women, because we don't, for many of us, we don't have that concept of the divine feminine. As women, we don't see the beauty in ourselves. We don't see the beauty in our bodies. We're being disrespected all over the place, right? There's been an assault on the feminine. You can look over in Africa and these third world countries and how these women are being treated. How we see the divine actually determines where we see beauty. And so it's time for us to begin to realize that we're not just woman. We are divinely feminine. And we are supposed to be the walking embodiment on earth of the divine feminine. So as above, so below, as within, so without, on a heavenly spiritual realm, as the veil is being lifted, and as the divine feminine is coming back to the forefront, as the queen is returning to her throne, so on earth are queens returning to their throne. Do you know how many women contact me and say, Melisi, I don't even know you. I don't even know where I found the queen code. But there's something about your message that resonates with me. Absolutely. Because we are truly queens born for such a time as this. It's no mistake that you're here right now. Because in order for us to really restore womanhood, even though there's something going on a higher level, it's bigger than you and I, we are the change. We need to be the change that we desire to see. This evolution is literally happening in the hearts of every woman worldwide. And there are kings too that are awakening, don't get me wrong. But again, as women, we embody more of the feminine traditionally. And I do believe that right now we have a great work to do. And so it's no accident that here lately you've been feeling this stirring in your spirit. Here lately you've been craving more peace and more purpose and passion. That's just the divine feminine awakening in you. This is the great revelation. This is the thing that's been hidden for so long that many of us see as taboo because of what we've been taught to believe. This is the reason why so many of us as women and so many men can't see or respect the feminine, because how we view God, how we view our level of God consciousness affects where we see beauty. When we begin to really take hold again of the divine feminine, we can look in the mirror and see something totally different. Our power, our feminine essence, how valuable we are. So I'm going to talk more about this in these videos, but the one thing that I want to bring to light today is the fact that in reclaiming that whole divine femininity, there are so many different characteristics that we had back then when we were powerful, when we headed great civilizations, when we were very revered. There's so many aspects that we had, so many characteristics, and I'm going to bring those to light. Now in this video, the one that I want to talk about is the characteristic of being women of influence. Back in the day before we were dethroned, and I'm not saying it to point fingers, because it's not about, the Queen Code is not about the battle of the sexes. We love our kings, okay? But before the predominantly masculine civilizations came into our peaceful civilizations and began to restructure things, before that happened, we really had civilizations where we had a lot of influence. And that word influence is really important, because we had impact. We could literally change things and shift things for the better just through our presence. And so one of the things that we need to get back to is really being women of influence. Not being women that have to fight and have to be catty and have to, throw our weight around. We don't have to take things by force. When you are in your divine feminine, honey, you are the force. As women, we don't have to fight. We just simply show up in the truth that we are, and things automatically shift and change. That is influence. When we bring forth the truth within us in such a powerful way, that is influence. When we're able to affect change on any level within ourselves, in our household, in society, that is influence. And we have to get back to that. And so what I've done to help you really to align with not only the divine feminine, but becoming a woman of influence, what I've done is I've created a wonderful masterclass. It's taking place tomorrow on Tuesday, July 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's called Becoming a Woman of Influence. And it's about building the foundations to your queendom. Because literally we are to, it's almost like just all these social paradigms and everything that we've learned about, being powerless, or whatever we've learned that's been miseducation for women. We're supposed to let all of that go and begin to build anew. So this masterclass that I'm teaching, Becoming a Woman of Influence, is all about rebuilding our queendoms. And I want to share with you the 4 steps to building the solid foundations for your queendom, for your new dwelling place, for this new era that we're stepping into. In the last series in Queen Ascension, I talked about the 4th and 5th dimension. Honey, we are coming back into our power as women, and it's time for you to get ready. So if you want to partake in that masterclass, all you simply have to do is go to readytoreign.com. That's readytoreign.com. That URL is either above me or below me, but go there, sign up for the class. I want to share with you on a deeper level how you can begin to ignite the influence that you innately have as a woman. We are awakening to our gifts because it is time. We are queens born for such a time as this. It's time for you to stop seeing yourself as just a woman and start seeing yourself as divinely feminine. It's time to lift the veil and see the full picture so we can totally grab hold of our power, okay? So to join me in that class, and it's a live class, and if you can't make it tomorrow, no worries, it's going to be recorded. Sign up anyway and get the replay. But it's www.readytoreign.com, and I'll be coming back next week with part 3 of Revelations. Stay tuned.